The empty seat. In the vast reaches of the Orion Arm, news traveled at the speed of politics, which is to say, deliberately and with calculated effect. The message that arrived at Earth's Unified Space Command in 2189 had been crafted with precision by beings who had mastered the art of diplomacy millennia before humans had invented the wheel. To the representatives of Terra, greetings. The Galactic Assembly extends formal recognition of your civilization's achievement of controlled faster-than-light travel. As per Assembly Charter, Section 12.3, your species is hereby invited to claim its seat among the stars. Coordinates and protocols follow. Admiral Helena Reyes stood by the window of her orbital office, watching Earth rotate below as she considered the implications. Humanity had suspected they weren't alone for centuries. They'd confirmed it just 30 years ago, when the first warp-capable probe detected artificial signals. But direct contact. An invitation to some sort of interstellar United Nations. This changed everything. They're offering us a seat, mused Ambassador Lin Chen, reading through the translated message for the third time. But they're not telling us what it costs. It's an honor, argued General Okafor. Recognition of our technological achievements. Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. Nothing is free in terrestrial politics. I doubt the rules change just because we've added a few dimensions to the playing field. The debate in Earth's Unified Council lasted weeks. Some pushed for immediate acceptance, arguing that humanity couldn't afford to insult their cosmic neighbors. Others counseled caution, pointing out that they knew nothing about the Assembly's true power structure or history. Chen, who had navigated the complex political landscape of Earth's unification, proposed an unconventional approach. We accept the invitation, she told the council during a closed session, but we don't take the seat. Not yet. They'll see it as a rejection, warned the European representative. No, Chen corrected. Will send me as the official ambassador. I'll attend every session. But I will not sit in the assigned chair until we understand exactly what we're joining. The plan that developed was even more elaborate. For 6 months before Chen's arrival, Earth quietly dispatched hundreds of specialists to the Assembly's massive station orbiting a neutron star designated Anchor Point. Engineers, linguists, medical personnel, maintenance crews, anthropologists disguised as service staff, each with the secondary mission of observing and reporting. When Ambassador Chen finally arrived at Anchor Point in a modest diplomatic vessel, the Assembly's Grand Chamber was filled with representatives from over 70 spacefaring civilizations. Some floated in specialized containment fields. Others perched on adaptive platforms. Many appeared surprisingly humanoid, though with variations that spoke of different evolutionary paths. High Minister Tilakshan of the Durrani Dominion, one of the Assembly's founding species, called the session to order with a harmonious sound from a crystalline instrument. We welcome Earth's ambassador, Tilakshan announced, gesturing with long, graceful limbs toward the empty seat positioned prominently near the center of the chamber. Please take your place so that formal proceedings may begin. Chen approached the seat but did not sit. Instead, she stood beside it and bowed respectfully to the assembled delegates. The people of Earth are honored by your invitation, she began, her voice clear and firm. We look forward to learning from your collective wisdom. However, in our culture, we believe in understanding the nature of an agreement before fully committing to it. I will observe today, if I may, and participate when appropriate. A murmur rippled through the chamber. Some delegates leaned toward each other, communicating in whispers or through subtle gestures. Tilakshan's inner eyelids flickered, a sign of confusion, as Earth's xenobiologists had already documented. This is unconventional, the High Minister responded carefully. The seat has been prepared according to your species' physiological requirements, and we appreciate the consideration, Chen replied smoothly. But my standing doesn't prevent me from listening and learning. As the session proceeded, Chen observed the subtle dynamics of the assembly. When the representative from Proxima Centauri's colonies raised concerns about resource allocation, Three of the oldest species exchanged a series of signals. Moments later, two younger civilizations immediately opposed the motion without substantive argument. The pattern repeated throughout the day, the appearance of democratic process overlaying what was clearly a controlled system. Meanwhile, throughout Anchor Point Station, Earth's observers were making similar discoveries. Dr. Maya Rodriguez, posing as a nutritional consultant in the station's commissary, documented which species dined together. Engineer Kai Takeda, assigned to environmental systems maintenance, mapped which areas received priority resources. Linguist David Okonkwo, hired to improve translation algorithms, carefully noted which nuances were deliberately mistranslated between certain species. By the second month of Chen's attendance, her refusal to sit had become the subject of intense speculation. Junior delegates approached her during recesses, some curious, others concerned. "Your empty chair disrupts the harmony of the assembly," advised Nearaxis, a reptilian delegate from a system Earth had not yet mapped. "Is your species afraid of commitment?" asked another, more bluntly. Chen deflected such inquiries with diplomatic skill while gathering information. Earth's observers had compiled enough data to form a troubling picture. The Galactic Assembly presented itself as an egalitarian collective of civilizations, but in reality, it operated as a sophisticated hierarchy. The founding species, the Durrani, the Velox Ascendancy, and the Correlax Concord, controlled nearly every significant decision through alliances and proxies. More disturbingly, Earth's historical researchers discovered references to species that had once held seats but were now absent from all current records. When questioned, older delegates became evasive. On Earth, the HFY Council received increasingly concerned reports from Admiral Reyes. "They're hiding something fundamental about how the Assembly operates," she told the emergency session. "Ambassador Chen believes the empty chair strategy is working. It's making them uncomfortable enough to reveal cracks in their facade, but it's also drawing unwanted attention." "Have they threatened action?" asked the African Union representative. "Not explicitly," Reyes replied, "but our linguists have detected increasing stress patterns in the founding species' communications when discussing Earth." The Council voted to maintain their approach despite the risks. Chen would continue to attend but not sit. Earth's observers would accelerate their information gathering. And quietly, Earth's defense forces would prepare for all contingencies. 3 months into this strategy, the first direct confrontation occurred. Ambassador Chen was approached by Talaxian and representatives from the other two founding species in a rarely used antechamber. "Ambassador," Talaxian began without preamble, "your continued refusal to formally take your seat has become a matter of concern." "I wasn't aware there was a deadline for acceptance," Chen replied calmly. "There isn't," said the Velox representative, her translucent skin pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. "But we've noticed an unusual number of your species throughout Anchor Point, in positions that give them access to sensitive areas." Chen maintained her composure. "Earth values diverse perspectives. Our people serve in many capacities. 27 new maintenance technicians in the past month alone," noted the Correlax delegate, his voice resonating from multiple speaking organs. "All human, all requesting access to different systems." "We're an industrious species," Chen replied, "and we learn best through direct experience." The message was clear on both sides. The founding species knew Earth was systematically studying the Assembly. Earth knew the Assembly wasn't what it claimed to be. What neither realized was that a crisis was brewing that would force both sides to reveal their true capabilities and intentions. Deep in the uncharted regions beyond Assembly space, an ancient automated defense system had awakened, a relic of a war fought before humans had mastered fire. Its first target would be the Assembly's primary trade route, used by dozens of civilizations for essential resources. And when chaos erupted, the meaning of Earth's empty chair would finally become clear to everyone. Humanity's response. The emergency alert resonated through Anchor Point Station with a harmonic pattern designed to be recognizable to all sentient nervous systems. "Danger, Imminent. Assemble. Within minutes, the chamber filled with agitated representatives, many having abandoned ceremonial dress in their haste. Ambassador Chen arrived to find the room's central holographic display, showing a pulsing anomaly near the Scutum Centaurus transit corridor, the Assembly's most vital trade route. "What are we looking at?" she asked a nearby aide. Before he could answer, High Minister Telection called for order. "An unknown energy formation has appeared in the Veil Nebula region," he announced, his usual melodic tones strained. "3 vessels have already been lost attempting passage. 17 more are stranded on either side of the anomaly, including 5 carrying essential medical supplies to the outer colonies." The Assembly erupted into chaotic debate. The Velox delegation demanded immediate military response. The Coralax counseled scientific investigation before action. Smaller species with dependencies on the trade route pleaded for emergency assistance. Chen watched as the founding species attempted to guide the discussion toward their preferred solutions, but for once, their usual control seemed tenuous. The crisis was too immediate, the stakes too high for the usual political maneuvering. What no one in the chamber realized was that humans had encountered something similar before. 70 years earlier, during Earth's first experimental warp flights, a research vessel had triggered a cascade reaction that created a localized space-time distortion with nearly identical energy signatures to what now threatened the Assembly's trade route. It had taken Earth's scientists nearly a decade to understand the phenomenon and develop countermeasures. The research had been classified at the highest levels, not because Earth wanted to keep it secret from alien civilizations they hadn't yet met, but because the implications for weaponization were too dangerous. Through her secure comm channel, Chen contacted Admiral Reyes. "Request immediate consultation with Project Lighthouse personnel," she said quietly, using the codename for Earth's space-time distortion research. "The Assembly is facing a Schrödinger event, and I need to decide whether we reveal what we know." While the Assembly continued its increasingly fractious debate, Earth's observers throughout the station were sharing data through encrypted channels. Dr. Eliza Mbeki, posing as a stellar cartographer, confirmed the anomaly's signature matched Earth's classified profiles. Dr. James Wong, working in the Theoretical Physics Division, verified that the Assembly's most advanced species had no effective countermeasures in their scientific databases. 2 hours into the emergency session, with no consensus in sight, Chen made her decision. She stepped forward and, for the first time in 6 months, approached Earth's assigned seat with clear intent. A hush fell over the chamber as she sat down deliberately, activating the chair's integrated systems. The symbolic significance was lost on no one. "Earth has experience with this type of spatial anomaly," she announced without preamble. "And we have a solution." The stunned silence that followed was broken by Telection. "You have encountered this phenomenon before. Why didn't you say so immediately?" "Because until now, I wasn't certain we were looking at the same thing," Chen replied smoothly. "And because Earth needed to understand the true nature of this assembly before sharing critical technologies." With rapid commands, she transferred Earth's data to the central display. Complex equations and schematic designs appeared, showing the precise nature of the anomaly and the countermeasures required. "This is a Schrödinger event, a cascade failure in the quantum structure of spacetime," she explained. "It can be stabilized with precisely calibrated graviton pulses fired simultaneously from 3 different vectors. We developed this solution 70 years ago, when our early warp experiments created a similar distortion." The Assembly representatives stared in disbelief at the advanced physics displayed before them. The technology was centuries beyond what most had believed humans possessed. "This is not consistent with our assessment of Earth's technological development," said the Velox representative carefully. "No," Chen agreed. "It isn't, just as the Assembly isn't what you claimed it to be." She stood again, now commanding the attention of the entire chamber. "While I observed from beside our empty chair, hundreds of my people have been learning the truth about this assembly. We know about the species that once held seats but mysteriously disappeared after opposing the founding members. We've documented the proxy voting systems that maintain your control despite the appearance of democracy. We've analyzed the resource allocation patterns that keep newer civilizations dependent on the founding worlds. Murmurs and clicks of communication devices spread through the chamber as delegates processed her words. Some showed signs of fear, others of vindication, as if long-held suspicions were finally being confirmed. Earth has 8 vessels positioned near the anomaly, Chen continued. They're equipped with the technology needed to collapse the Schrödinger event safely. They await my signal. Talakshin's inner eyelids flickered rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. You positioned military vessels near one of our most critical trade routes without authorization. We positioned scientific vessels with defensive capabilities near a spatial anomaly that threatens multiple civilizations, Chen corrected. Just as we positioned observers throughout this station to learn the truth before committing our planet to your assembly. She turned to address the entire chamber. Earth will resolve this crisis. We offer this assistance freely. But afterward, this assembly must address the disparities and deceptions built into its structure. The empty chair that concerned you so much was never a rejection. It was a diagnostic tool. And what it revealed requires remedy. With a simple gesture, she sent the command signal. On the main display, the assembly watched as Earth vessels moved into precise positions around the anomaly and activated advanced systems that most delegates couldn't even comprehend. The pulsing distortion began to stabilize immediately. In the hours that followed, as Earth's technology saved the vital trade route, power shifted perceptibly within the assembly. Smaller civilizations that had been deferential for centuries now looked to Chen with new respect. The founding species found themselves answering uncomfortable questions about assembly history and governance. When the crisis had fully passed, Chen addressed the assembly once more. Earth formally accepts its place among the galactic community, she announced. But we do so as equals, not as subordinates. The discoveries we've made in our brief history suggest that true progress comes from cooperation, not domination. We believe this assembly can achieve more by embracing that principle. She gestured toward the various delegates. Many of you have technologies or knowledge that Earth would benefit from. We have innovations that could help solve problems across numerous worlds. A genuine exchange would strengthen all our civilizations. Over the following months, a transformation began within the Galactic Assembly. With Earth's revelations serving as a catalyst, newer civilizations formed coalitions to advocate for structural reforms. Species that had been marginalized found their voices strengthened. The founding civilizations, realizing they could not simply dismiss Earth after the demonstration of its technological capabilities, grudgingly engaged in negotiations. Ambassador Chen remained at the center of these changes, now firmly seated in Earth's chair, but often rising to walk among the delegates, maintaining the direct engagement that had characterized humanity's approach from the beginning. A year after the crisis, Admiral Reyes stood again at her window overlooking Earth, reviewing Chen's latest report. The Admiral smiled at the final paragraph. The empty chair served its purpose. It confused them, unnerved them, and ultimately revealed the truth. Now that we've taken our seat, we find that standing up, together with others who have been silenced, creates an even more powerful effect. Earth didn't join the Galactic Assembly that invited us. Instead, we're helping to create a new one that lives up to the ideals it only claimed to represent. As the message concluded, Reyes looked toward the stars. Humanity had entered the galactic stage, not as naive newcomers to be guided and controlled, but as perceptive observers who recognized the patterns of power for what they were. The empty chair had spoken volumes, and now that it was filled, its message continued to resonate throughout the stars. Earth's strategic patience had accomplished what no amount of military might could have achieved. By simply watching and waiting, humanity had changed the course of galactic history. And they were just getting started.